from the load balancer one of the Ubuntu machines, and this is the one which you have it. No, not this one. This one. See that? So it's the subdomain I'm redirecting, and this is how it works. Are you able to understand that?
Yeah, we can access it.
Yeah. So this is the full life cycle, which you can see that from here to DNS to load balancer to Ether. Again, you will have a load balancer internal one, which will load balance the application and followed by database. So this is the something which you have. So now let me clean it up. Others I'll miss and then I'll create a problem. So delete, and target group also I should delete.
Rajesh, this load balancer also comes under IaaS service, right?
Infrastructure services. Okay. Okay, so now what is this next one? Auto scaling group. What is the auto scaling group? Auto scaling group, as name suggests, scaling, auto scaling. So let's say, think simple, okay? Right now, suddenly what is happening? There is how many server you are running your application? 4 server. What is the response time? What is the, let's say more traffic is coming from the user. So what will happen? More traffic will come. So now all this server is become, let's say threshold is set at 80%. So CPU utilization reaches to 80%. That is bad, right? Because you will have a user experience worse, right? Because if you are requesting and your client is requesting and they're not able to receive the response on time, so this will be bad, right? So what to do in this case? What to do in this case? So you have to add more machines, auto scale, add one more machine, add one more machine, add one more machines like that. Or let's say your CPU utilization is 40%, which is lesser than the threshold. So delete more machines. So auto scaling up, scaling down. Did you understand the fundamental?
Yes.
All of you?
Yeah.
Scaling up, scaling down. If you have a high CPU usage, add more machines to the load balancer. If you have a low CPU utilization, remove it. Why to pay money for it?
Yeah.
So how do we do that? So for that, you have to go to this part, which is under the EC2 itself. Under the EC2, you have a auto scaling group. So here, this is the auto scaling, and you have to create first of all this machine configurations. So this is, we call it a launch configuration. So what machine you want to create, what kind of configuration you have to create it. Whatever you did in the EC2 widget, no, something similar, you have to create a configuration. So let's say I'm creating a configurations, and this is a ASG config, and here which AMI IDs you want to use it. So let's say you select the AMI's ID here, Ubuntu, all this stuff. Spelling mistake. Ubuntu AMI ID you have to give it here. So you can choose that AMI ID from the this AMI ID is mine actually. So you can choose from here. Ubuntu is here. And what is the CPU, RAM, and all you want to assign it. So select that. What is a large medium? See here. Macro is not supported here actually, by the way. And choose. And after that, you want to enable the monitoring. So monitoring for that, CloudWatch is there. And rest of the things, how much hard drive and all, which security group, what port you want to open, and all this data know, and which access that key pairs and all this stuff, and acknowledge and create a launch configurations. So this is just so you created a configuration, nothing got created. Now you will create a writer rule actually for that. So how do we do that? Let me show you. Here you will go to the auto scaling group you will create, and you'll say, hey, I want to set a rules when to scale up, when to scale down. So for that, let me create a group, name of this ASG, and which template, which I just now created. There's only one template. Just a second. There's one template which I created, this one, and this machine will be, this configuration machine will be created or deleted. Next, and here you want to select the BPC, and availability zone you want to create in all availability zone is up to you. Next, and here you are setting up the, see, you are attaching to the load balancer or not attaching is up to you. Some health check rules, some additional setups, and next. And here you are creating a policy rule. This is important. Here by default it says none, but here you select. So now you say, hey, if my average CPU utilization is target value, let's say closer to 75, then you have to do something. And this is the auto scaling group name you are creating. And for that, next, add notifications. Here you have to set that how many desired capacity, minimum capacity, maximum capacity. So desired to minimum to maximum 10, something like that. And here you select all this CPU and all, next, and next, and add the tag, and next, and review all this rule and then create it. This will create 2 machines minimum because your desire is 2. Of which configurations? The one which I set it up on top somewhere here, and it will always maintain. So if the 75% of the CPU which will be there, if it's matching, it will keep adding it. Else it will be managing that minimum or desired capacity. Did you understand that, all of you?
Yeah, Rajesh. But if it is less memory, in that case, it will delete one machine.
So downside also you can do that. So here there's some way. See here, scale out. Okay. So scale out, disable a scale in to create only a scale out policy. So somewhere it is scale out policy also. Let me see that. Next, add notifications. It should be here only. Desired minimum, maximum. Somewhere it should be here, but not able to locate that. So we'll have to check this later.
Okay, that's fine.
So this is the auto scaling group. Now, guys, anyways, I'm teaching you lots of monitoring tool, but you know what? There is one service which is dedicated for monitoring entire AWS. And what is the service name? AWS CloudWatch. So basic monitoring is free at CloudWatch, but advanced monitoring is a paid one. So where is the CloudWatch? So let's look at this. I did not create this one. I will just cancel this. And also I'll go to delete this configurations. Whichever I create, I have a habit of deleting it just to avoid the confusion. And then I'll go to the CloudWatch. CloudWatch is monitoring services. I repeat, if anyone say you have to monitor AWS services, always remember CloudWatch. Here it is. And see that here. In the CloudWatch, we have a multiple features actually. So let me talk about it. You have to spend some time here. So CloudWatch, this part you have alarms, this part you have a dashboard, this part you can access the logs. You want to explore the matrices from the different here. So this is the one place you have everything. By the way, I don't know how many of you have noticed actually. If you go to the EC2 instance also, each services you have an enable monitoring and disable monitoring. Let me show you. Let's say this is a Linux machines, and go to the monitoring here, and the basic monitoring was enabled, so that's the reason it was coming like this. You can see the full page. What is this? Where is the full page? He's here. Here. So these all small, larger one actually. So if you see the small, these are all monitoring enabled by default. So basic monitoring is enabled. You can manage the detailed monitoring also. And same thing you can see at here. Again, CloudWatch. Here. So you can explore all these matrices. Here, matrices for the EC2 instance, Lambda, service-based, and select this from where. So instance ID, which instance ID here it is. So this is the instance ID which you can explore that. Okay, add to dashboard if you like it. A lot of filters are available, so you can check this here. This is the log groups. If you enable the log groups, you can see that here. Some of these log groups of Lambda I enabled long back, so that is the stuff. And this is the alarms you can set if some machines you have CPU is gone more than 50% or something, you can create alarms. Here I have a dashboard. Though it's not we are using for the production, but it's very important for you to understand that lots of things will get in AWS cloud. So this is the monitoring services which we use for that. Now this is something which you want to understand. So what are the DevOps related tools you have? So guys, I want to remind you, I hope you remember that you have ID, you write a code in ID editor. After that, you store the code in the GitHub, by the way. And after that, you build it, scan it, right? Scan it, and then build the source code. I've not done the training for you, still it's in progress. But if you remember this flow, correct? No? See here, Git, scan the code, build the code, package the code, test the code, deploy the code, and all stuff like that. Do you remember that? These all services, at least the use cases of it. All of you?
Yes, Rajesh.
Yeah.
Right, ID, we have GitHub, we have scan, we have build, we do that. After that, what you do? You archive the software using Artifactory. After the deployment, you do that. After that, you all this thing you see, and then pipeline you have it CI. Actually, you set up a CI. Jenkins, I'm teaching you Jenkins as part of this course. You know what? All this thing you can do through AWS. Yes, everything you can do through AWS. But how? We depends on your organization. I have seen very few organization is using these services, but you should know. You should know. You never know which is being used, which is not being used. So how do we know that? So go to the services and go to the developer tool, and you see that here these all services belong to doing the same thing. So what is Cloud9? Online ID, guys. So you don't need your laptop anymore. You just need a browser. Write a code, run a code, debug the code in this. You want to connect with the different consoles, shell you need, right? Here it is. You want to store the code in the GitHub, like kind of repository, code commit. You want to build the code build. You want to deploy the code using the code deploy. You want to create a CI/CD pipeline using Jenkins, code pipeline. You want to review the code stack. So see that every sort of things. You want to store the package, code artifacts. So every sort of services you have on AWS. This is called AWS DevOps. Okay. Now there is a few more services we have. That is called Ops works. See here. Ops works.
So are we gonna
I'm teaching.
Are we gonna
I'm
be doing?
teaching you.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I said,
So
are
I'm
we gonna
teaching
be doing?
you. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, I said, so meaning, you're teaching us AWS DevOps. Is that what you're teaching us?
No. I'm not teaching you AWS DevOps. I told you,
Okay.
right? I'm teaching you standard DevOps, which is popular in the market.
Okay.
But AWS is having similar services. Azure also have a similar services. Google Cloud also has similar services, but I'm not teaching you that. I'm teaching you this one.
Okay.
Okay. So if let's say if you say no, I don't want to learn Ansible, then probably you can go for Chef, Puppet. But if you say, no, I want to use cloud-based services, then no problem. You can go for the OpsWorks, see here. Or you can go to the code deploy, the one which I shared here, this one. You don't want to use Jenkins, then you use this one. But hardly, I mean, you have to know this one, whatever I am suggesting, because this is the common for most of the projects. But very few projects, they use the complete solutions on AWS only. So in that case, you have to know at least what are the services is required for replicating what kind of things. Getting my points, all of you?
Yeah, copy that. Thank you.
Yeah.
So if you say, right, Rajesh, we are 100% on AWS, so we don't need a Terraform. Then what you need? So you have a services which is called AWS CloudFormation. CloudFormations. Here, so Terraform equivalent to Terraform. So what I'm trying to tell you here is whatever you can imagine that need for resources, services you have on AWS, whether you use it or not, that is a different thing. But you will get everything. Got it? So these all are platform as a service, by the way. So or software as a service. So these are the services you have to just know whether you use it or not. Depends on your projects in future, but you should know. If you want to have something like a deployment services like CloudOps, I was talking about CloudOps. Oh, sorry, OpsWorks. Here. Now there is a developer services also like SES. SES means Amazon Simple Email Services. So SES. So SES means what? Do you want to set up SMTP server? You say, Rajesh, I don't want to set up SMTP server. I don't want to manage it. I have no interest. But you need SMTP server for sending an email, right? So it's a platform as a service. Set up SMTP server with a few clicks. You want to set up a queue server? SQS. These are the queue server. Apache MQ and all you. If you're a developer, you will be able to correlate all this. If you want to set up a notification server, so SNS, notification PopShop. Okay. So what I'm trying to say here is you have so many services. Whatever you can imagine, you cannot imagine, you have it here. It's just a matter of you to figure it out which services I have to use it. So if you're a DevOps, if you're an admin, if you have a IT guys, if you're a developer, you are a QA, you are a CEO, CTO, any technology, any domain, networking, security, you have a services here. Make sense, guys, all of you? All of you?
Yes.
Yes, Rajesh.
Yeah. So that is something you have to do that. Any questions so far, all of you? Okay. So whatever the services I showed you the demo, you have to practice it those only. And after that, remaining services depends on the use in your project or depends on the will of learning. So remaining services also that you have recordings in LMS, you can check it out and gradually you can get into that.
Thanks for watching. Want to study further? Join our training programs today.